All right, I'm back, you guys. This is Ace Boogie, and we're here for another episode of Fields of Growth. This one is gonna be a heavy hitter. I'm just gonna put that out there. Might not be too filtered, way more off the cuff and emotional. I'm coming to you today to talk about brutality, police brutality, but just really violence against the Black community within ourselves, societal, just all around. What prompted this video was the shooting of the 16-year-old girl in Columbus, Ohio, and how disheartening it is to see so many people say that's justified, or she was trying to stab the other young woman, which was true, or was trying to fight. Now I say fight the other young woman because I had to go get the whole story because it just did not sit with my spirit right. So for the whole story, the young girl, Micaiah, she was a foster. She was in and out of foster home and in a foster home at the time, and she was being bullied and also encouraged and kind of pressured by the adults around her to defend herself and fight these girls as well. So I'll say girls because one of them was 29 years old. So, I mean, but anyone with that mentality coming to somebody else's house to fight them is a child. But she was scared. I can only imagine at 16 years old being bullied constantly by my weight, by how I look, or just all different things that people decide to bully people for. And y'all got some, like, I'm trying to keep my composure and not really go there, but I could just imagine being 16 years old and somebody grown as hell, or somebody my age going to get their big cousin, their big sister who's grown as hell, coming to my house, coming to where I lay my head at night to fight me. And then having the people that are supposed to be looking out for me encouraging the mess. And she didn't feel comfortable until her biological father was present on the scene to feel like she could come out of the house and defend herself or fight these girls. So she had a younger sister who I believe was the one who was calling the police, or maybe she had been calling the police herself, but she had been making multiple police calls and instances before saying, you know, this is happening to me, da 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 da. So finally, I guess this day is when everything came to a head because she went outside, like we all know, and the police were called and they arrived, and there are just so many things right there that went wrong, okay? So just imagine, like I said, being 16, 15 years old, and you're calling for help and you're wanting someone to come and diffuse the situation, but instead, upon their arrival, they don't assess anything other than, I see brown on brown, black on black violence, and I'm just going to react. And it upsets me that I've heard my own brown and black people say, well, if that was my child, I would have won. If that was my child, meaning the one who was getting attacked, so not Micaiah, I would have wanted the police to take swift action, take them down, all of the things. They saved my baby's life, da 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 da. No, that would be the case if Micaiah was the one who left her residence and then came to your residence and you and your baby, or her and your baby was outside fighting. But your daughter, or whoever that other individual was, because I really haven't heard of any of their names, was the attacker, was the one who started everything, who was the aggressor. And just because this young woman who, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, okay? I didn't grow up there, but I know for a fact that it's like that. So it's very petty. It's very crab-like mentality. It's very people wanting to flex and flex nothing, truly. A lot of that animosity, insecurities, and women trying to outdo, or men trying to outdo each other. Also, there's a lot of violence is the answer, which is just beyond me at this point, especially the age differences. But I know for a fact that mamas pull up with daughters to fight other mamas and other daughters at their house. I know for a fact that people with no real information base will just fly off the cuff to go take out their anger and aggressions on the next motherfucker because they brother, sister, cousin, whoever told them, hey, let's roll. With no, when we get there, what are we like? What are we gonna do other than to fuck them up, or other than to, because had not Ma'Khia called the police, she could have been stabbed. She could have got her face sliced open. She could have got jumped. That was the goal, was to jump her. Like, that's why they came to her house, was for multiple people from 15 to 29 years of age to collectively pummel and attack another single 15-year-old. So don't sit here and tell me that she was not the victim. She was the victim prior to her death and sure after her death by the police. So again, when the police arrived on the scene, they made so many mistakes. But the first mistake was not even saying, police, hands up, stop. There was no, we have arrived, we're gonna tase you. So many things could have happened. So in my personal opinion, okay, you have your taser, you have your gun, okay? They said that they didn't pull for the taser because of their response time, okay? But again, I have been in situations where things can happen in a split second, okay? If you've seen the video, like a lot of us have seen the video, yes, Ma'Khia is, I guess, charging or headed for the young woman in attack stance, but she's 15 years old. So all the police had to do was set his authority and say, police, we are going to shoot you. We are going to tase you. We're going to do something, because she called for them. They gave her no time to turn around and respond. As soon as she turns around, there's bullets in her chest. Like, there was no response time for her to even say, okay, I can not be so aggressive. I have safety here. I have people here who are going to help me. There was no, we're trying to here to help the situation. There you go. The police was not there to help the situation. They were there ultimately just to throw around their authority and to do what they did. Traumatize another black family, make us feel that we are not worth protecting, and even really getting to the bottom of our problems to talk about it. Let's just respond to with more violence. Like, I have seen countless videos, okay, of white men drunk, high, all out of their mind, all the things out of their fucking mind, swinging metal poles, bats, knives, their arms, fists, whatever, trying to attack police. There's literally a video of a guy who stabbed a police officer in his neck, okay, because he was trying to arrest him and get away. And he said, I can't trust you that you won't run away. The guy literally does a little 1-2 and stabs him in his neck, okay? Does that police officer pull out his gun and shoot him? Of course not. He pulls out his taser and proceeds to chase this man with an injury, a wound, a stab wound to the neck, what that other young woman could have received herself. Okay? Still did not shoot that white man. Still tased him, took him in, arrested him. He's still alive today. I believe the police officer survived that injury as well. So, this goes back to say that Ma'Khia could have got her stab in. Said it. I would have got my stab in if you come into my house and I got a knife. I'm getting my stab in. Trust and believe. I have been in personal situations where this same thing has happened to me. Okay? Grown ass motherfuckers who should have known better, but didn't. Pulled up on their own cognizance and just, I'm gonna pull up and don't know what's going on, but I'm going to take out my aggressions and frustrations out on you today because my family member called me and let me know some BS and now I'm ready to fight. Okay, this has happened to me in real life, so I know this type of stuff happens all the time. They're not trying to talk. They're not trying to really have a kumbaya moment and get to the bottom of it. Was she being bullied? Did this happen in, why is this person mad? Like there's, when these people come, they're coming to attack. They're not coming to have a therapy session. So, with the people because I think in the video I saw about three people other than Ma'Khia and maybe her parents or whoever the adults were in the situation who were, because one boy was off in the back or one person was off in the back with their hands all the way up, way in the back because they knew they were there as the attacker. They knew they were there as the aggressor. But this is just, it's sickening to me. It's sickening on so many levels because the police just pulled up and did not do his job. If you're scared of a 16-year-old, don't be a motherfucking police officer. If you're scared of black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, hell, white people, any people, if you're scary at all, don't be a motherfucking police officer. Period. We don't need any scary people who can't come into a situation and announce themselves and throw around their authority to truly de-escalate the situation. Because like I said, the police didn't care that they traumatized every single person that day. They traumatized her family, the people that came to attack them, because the police officer thought he was shooting the attacker. So the people that came to her house need to watch out because next time the police might actually shoot them. Okay? Because he thought that they, or Ma'Khia, was the young woman who pulled up on Ma'Khia's house. But in reality, that was Ma'Khia successfully defending herself in a stand your ground state now, Columbus, like Ohio. Like, come on. I mean, like, but you know that only applies to white people. They can only stand their ground. And it's just beyond me. It's really beyond me that the police officer just pulled up and was just as irrational and reactive as the people, as the civilians truly going through whatever domestic situation they were going with. Like, he just came in and was like, oh, y'all are, like, I'm just gonna, like, no cognitive, logical steps were taken in his mind. It was just, I see chaos, I see people I don't care about, I don't see anything worth valuing. I'm gonna traumatize, like I said, everybody here by shooting a 15-year-old, and the world's gonna justify it because I was so scared that I didn't make the proper steps to assess. I just stopped the violence, but really you just added to it. And so what's even more sickening about this is like the Candace Owens, I hate that we have the same fucking name, but the Candace Owens and Uncle Toms and self-hating, because I won't call them Uncle Toms, because they really just self-hate. They hate themselves, and they hate that they can't get away from all the things society it brings to be a black person. So they try every day to appease and say the right things and try to make their lives a little bit easier, because they hate that they're born with this skin color. And for everyone who says like this would be justified, like I said, I have a family member who is in the legal system, and I won't say me and her, but we have our group chat, and it was brought up in the group chat, and just some of the things and the views were disheartening, because it's like, as a mother, please don't shoot any other young woman or a young person trying to, or in front of my child, whether they're in the scuffle or not, whether they're coming at my child or not, because I'm the parent who's gonna have, like, a lady's gonna have her knife on her, like, a lady's gonna be protected. So if she was out in the streets, Lord forbid, and she's about to get jumped, pull out your knife, gets to cutting these bitches. Like, that's just what it is. Defend yourself. But I would hate for her to, about to be jumped in the street, call 911 on her cell phone, she's out here cutting and and they come and shoot her. That's essentially what happened. And then there were people who were saying they would want, if they were the parents of the attackers, they would want that to happen. Tell your kids to stop bullying people. Why do they think it's okay to come and jump somebody? Why is that okay? It's not. Okay. So don't sit here and say that even if the police, if the Columbus legal system does justify this killing, which they probably will, this murder, because this is another murder, there's no way you can say that's okay. It's just to look out for their gang member, aka the fucking police officer, and it's just to continue the narrative that we're not worth protecting, we're not worth mental health, we're not worth de-escalation. Okay, so follow me. And for the black people in the Columbus legal system, if you're not there to make a change, you're there to be a house slave. Period. Because you can't be there to get degraded every day. You can't be there just to be the token black individual. You can't be there just because you feel like this is all your life is worth. Is to just fill a quota, or it's some type of societal function. Like, I would hope that every black person in the legal system at all, not just in Ohio, but in the legal system at all, like, you're there because you truly want to make a difference and you truly want things to change. So when these situations happen, don't bring up black on black violence, don't bring up gang violence, because that's not what we're talking about. Yes, apples and oranges. Yes, I think that gang violence and black on black violence and black on brown, whatever, people of color violence exists, just like white on white violence fucking exists, and that shit exists at a higher rate. But we're not going to get into that. The reason that we have so many gangs and shootings, like the girl who got shot with her dad in Chicago in the McDonald's line, or the girl around the corner from my grandmother's house in Cleveland on Lee, who was in the car with her brother and sister who got shot. Like, it's a problem, and these babies are dying at the hands of us, and we have to dig deep. But it all starts with the mental health. So these brothers who are out here, and I'm not gonna say brothers because these be women too, these lost souls out here who turn to the streets and believe that violence is their way of asserting themselves, really there is a lack of self-worth, and there's insecurity on their purpose. They don't feel like they've had a purpose or anybody sees them, so they have to do the most dramatic things to be seen, feel like something, feel like they're a part of this world. And it's sad and it's heartbreaking, but that does not give or justify police who get paid to protect and serve, to go up in communities and make just as irrational and illogical and heartless decisions as these gang members on the corners. Like, that's what they did. Like, to me, it was like watching a parent, or like, I don't even know. It was just it was like some Animal Planet type shit where you got like two let's say gazelle fighting, right? And they fighting for, to mate or something. Then the next thing you know, a lion just comes in here and takes one of the gazelle off while they fighting, because their guards are down, or they're not even here to, he didn't come with the intention of, I'm going to de-escalate this situation. He came with, I'm going to get this situation over as swiftly as possible. If it's traumatic, it's traumatic. Who cares? I don't. And then just to say that that's okay, that's justifiable, because she was in a moment of defending herself. Like, I can only imagine, because I have, like I said, personally, I could be dead. I could be dead so many times by the hands of Shaker police and Cleveland police if they would have actually pulled up and had that same, we're just here to react and respond. We're not here to really assess and see that you're okay. Because like I said, I've had people come up to my house and fight me. I've had instances where the police has been called on me, and I've had to like literally get out with my hands in the air like, yo, I don't know what you were told, but I don't got this, I don't got that, please don't shoot me. And thank God I have always been protected and had an officer of color or officer of color who cared. Because just because they of color don't mean they care. And just because they aren't of color don't mean that they don't care. So I've just always been blessed to have encounters with officers that actually cared about the well-being of the people and not just making it home or really making the news. Like, I truly believe that some of these officers want to make the news. They want to be seen as nigger killers. Let's just call it what it fucking is. Like, they don't care. They, like, all police don't join, like, and then the whole Dante Wright thing. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but this also pisses me off, because this young man had a warrant out for his arrest. And the warrant out for his arrest was, yes, he had done like a robbery or whatever, but he had a court date to go to. So they sent it to the wrong address on fucking purpose, because you can't tell me that it wasn't on purpose, because I've watched too much criminal shows, Law and Order, all of that, to know that they do shady ass shit like that. And they send warrants to the wrong address, or subpoenas and things to the wrong address, so then they can issue warrants, so then that individual is out on the street with a target literally on their chest. So in his situation, just imagine you getting pulled over for an air freshener, you thinking everything's about to be cool, and they tell you you about to get arrested, and you really don't understand because you missed a court date you didn't know about. Like, nigga, I wouldn't want to go to jail either. I wouldn't want somebody, like, no, y'all gonna tell me something. Like, I'm 19, I'm not about to just, I'm scared. We're scared. Like, 10 times out of 10, every black person pulled over is scared. Okay, so that mindset right there Think about how children react when they're scared. Think about how animals react when they're scared. They either run or they get very aggressive, fight or flight. Sometimes they freeze, but most times in situations with the police, it's fight or flight. And it's just sad. It's just sad that people can say this is justified. There is no such thing. If they didn't kill Dylan Roof, there's nothing justifiable about killing a 16-year-old. Girl, boy, it don't matter. There's nothing justifiable by that. Like, I've been around violent situations where people pulling knives, pulling this, and just because they getting upset does not mean anybody got stabbed. That does not mean that it went to that height, but if you know how to truly de-escalate and truly you're there and your heart is there to bring pure resolutions, it will happen. But that's not the case. And so I want people to stop trying to defend the police. Like, stop defending the police. Like, the police don't need fucking defending. They're the ones who should be held to the standard. They're the ones who should really be like you decided. When you decide to put that uniform on and you swear in, that's what you decided. Just like when I decided and I'm like prime military. I couldn't just up and decide, I don't want to do this anymore, or there was process and steps. I was held to a different standard, the UCMJ. Like, so why there's no accountability for these gang members with badges is beyond me. Because all they were ever, like, even in America ever made in their whole creation was slave capture and to bring the slaves back to the plantation. So if you don't see that reflecting in what's going on today, yes, there's people out there who wear the uniform with pride and do their jobs with due diligence and with pride. But that's not even half. That's not even fucking 65%, 70% of the gang members out here. It's all for white preservation as far as their mental health goes. Because why don't the police ever rush in and shoot a white boy on TV? Why don't we ever see a white boy getting shot down in the middle of the street after he's done shot Asians, shot people in churches, shot up children in schools? We still don't ever see a white boy get gunned down. Why? Because that was psychologically fucked with too many minds of white males in America. They would be like, damn, my life, that's a reflection of me. I could get gunned down? No. White people can't get gunned down. So let's keep our eyes open, okay? Let's really call it what it is, okay? The police is there to preserve and ease white minds. That's all they're there for. They're there to ease the white minds, because white people don't even fear the cops like we fear the cops. When white people see the cops, they feel like they work for them. You know, the police are there for them. They're there for them. The police ain't there for us. The police are not there to police for us. They're there to police us, which means round us up, shoot us, make us feel like we're nothing worth protecting, because really it's about preserving the white mentality and the white psyche, not ours. So let me just wrap this up, because I know I've been on a rant and a tangent, but to bring some positivity back to this, all I can say is karma is real. God is real. So for all the believers out there, know that you're protected. Okay, like I said, I have been in too many personal situations where I could have been shot, I could have been stabbed, I could have been arrested, I could have been all of the things, all of the things. But I just thank God never became a hashtag, and I really, really want everybody to keep the Holy Spirit close to them. Because I feel like that is our only protection out here is the Holy Spirit. And y'all, black people, stop with the self-hate. Stop trying to defend the police. There's no defending these murderers, okay? If they don't murder these white boys, they shouldn't be able to murder our black kids. Whether they are, like, got a warrant out or calling for help. It doesn't matter. Like, stop defending it. Because you know it's bullshit. And you know that when you go to your white corporate job, you feel like they don't give a fuck about you, because they don't. So why are you trying to go spread in the community that we should give and see this other, like, there is no other side. I'm tired of that. There's no other side. There really is no other side. There's right and there's wrong. And if you, before you open your mouth about something and saying, oh, she called them. She called them. That's like saying, if I'm getting my ass beat by my boyfriend or whatever, and I called the police, and then I pull a knife out on him and I start stabbing him because I'm tired of the bullshit, they can come in and shoot me because I'm mid. Like, no. Come in and assess the situation. Tase me. Do something. Like, I'm the victim here. Obviously, I've been pushed to my limits. Obviously, there is some disparages. There's something deeper than just, I'm gonna just pull up and shoot a young woman in the chest. Or the bitch with Dante Ray who holds a Glock in her face and says, taser, taser, and says, I mistook you. Bitch, no, you didn't. You pulled your gun out, you held your gun out, you shot your gun a couple times, and then your gang members told you to say it was a mistake. Your gang members advised you differently because they know the protocol and how easy it is for them to justify it. But I'm tired of black people self-hating and justifying white bullshit. Period. Because if your son gets pulled over because he's got a nice car and he goes to reach for his something too fast, how are we going to justify that? Or if your daughter or son, let's just keep it with sons, because we're trying to really protect them, right? We want to protect everybody, but if our sons just find themselves in a situation where they really have to defend themselves, are they supposed to just take the beating because they don't want the police to pull up and shoot them for defending themselves? Are they supposed to take the mistreatment? Because then if they don't, that's not complying. At the end of the day, policing needs policing. Like, they don't have enough rules. They're not held to a high enough standard to be running around here with guns and telling motherfuckers what to do, or feeling like they can tell motherfuckers what to do. They're not held to a high enough standard, and it's scary because you have people, everybody has emotions. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has triggers. And they're humans, just like the rest of us. And if we don't hold humans to the same standard as other humans, you're going to have a group of fucking humans feeling like they can throw their power around. And that's what gang violence is. Insecure ass motherfuckers who want to throw their power around. AKA the police in America. So, again, this video really wasn't, I tried to catch y'all with some positive notes, but I'm tired. I'm really tired. This one, it ain't like, oh, whatever, it's right or wrong. Stop hating yourself. Stop hating your fellow black and brown people. And stop fucking justifying unjustifiable behavior. Because you've been conditioned to think that shit's okay, and it's not. It's not. A police pulling up to shoot a 15-year-old while there is an altercation going on and not figuring out who is right and who is wrong and where the actual need of justice needs to go is bullshit. Police shouldn't be able to be fucking scared and reactive. Then everybody could be a goddamn police officer, right? No. Stop your scary ass and stop signing up to be a police officer and stop defending undefendable ass shit. I really don't understand how these lawyers get up here and defend the unfucking defendable. I know it's your job, but again, there's a line in history where your name will go down at, in the books. And are we there to be a house slave, or are we there to make a change and make a difference? Is it about the money, or is it about helping people? Is it about being a better life for only you and yours, or is it about getting a better life for everyone on this planet and in this country? So this is really just a message to anybody who thinks or follows me or just like with the vaccine. If your ass is getting the vaccine, I'm not for you. If you can defend the police, I'm definitely not for you. So, I just want to make that clear. Amen. Ashe. It's the movement. Catch you next time.